Okay.
You're like,
Hi. um, I'm lost already. So, um, hi. Today we have a very interesting person with us, Ched Nedland. Did I say it correctly? I feel like
yes,
I did. Okay,
yeah,
great. Okay. We had a conversation about this, and I just
steps ahead of everybody else already.
right, it's totally fine. We have this, and I just wanted to bring him on and tell everybody. Well, have him actually tell you exactly what he does. But it's something everybody needs, and everybody will benefit from, and I needed it as well. I still need it. So I'm interested. Like I was interested, so I felt like everybody else was interested and should be interested if they're not. And I will tell you what you should and shouldn't do. You know me, and so please tell us about what you do. What?
Well, I'm glad you asked. One of the things that I absolutely loved is that I understood that everybody in this world actually has purpose. We have been given something in this world that we are responsible for bringing to the rest of the world. For some people, it's a business. For other people, it's a product. For others, it's a message that they have to bring into the world. And I started struggling with this because I saw such amazing people in my life, and they had such passion, but nobody knew anything about them. And I said, you got to get in front of more audiences. And for years, I struggled through this as I started business over 3 decades ago. And I was like, how do we get in front of more audience? How do you get in front of an audience? How do you get in front of an audience? And somebody said, go stand in front of the traffic. Figure out where they already are and just go stand in front of them. And it blew my mind that it was really that simple, because all this time I'm like, I got to go find my customers, right? But the reality was they were already going places. All I needed to do is figure out where they're going and then go stand in front of them. And so I started doing that. But there was a problem. They were walking right past me, symbolically, and going and buying from the next vendor. And I couldn't figure out why until I understood they didn't see me as an authority in my space. And because I had no authority in that space, I had no influence over their actions, over their directions. So I spent a good portion of my life figuring out not just how do I get in front of new people, because if you have something to share with the world, then you actually have to get in front of the world. But how do I get them to understand that I'm an authority? And how do I create a positioning where I can influence their behavior so that they can go for the next best step in their life? If it's with me, awesome. If it's not, awesome. My goal is to help them move forward. And so ultimately, I put together, it's a full course that I put together called Automatic Authority Advantage, because there's some advantages to having authority, but it's automatic. Once you build authority, you'll automatically have influence in your audience. And so what we've done is we've helped people to do that. One of the ways that we do that is we do an interview process, much like we're talking about right now, with a couple little twists in there. And it helps you to position yourself in front of new audiences and eventually help them to come to their next best decision in their life.
I like that because it is about their best decision. Yeah, I like that. I like that you make that a point to say that too, because a lot of times it's not that. A lot of times people are trying to make it the best decision for my life, not your life. Not the customer's
Right?
life. So yeah, that's awesome and refreshing. So that's great. So how do you go about doing that with the course or like with how?
Okay. Well, there's actually 5 steps
Okay.
that help somebody go from nobody knows me to this influencer is over here sending their audience to me. And oddly enough, they're really simple steps. They're progressive. You don't go from A to C. You don't go from A to E. You go from
Very true.
A to B to C to D to E. Why? Because everything builds on the last thing. Think about it like a house. If you want a shelter over your head, the first thing you have to do is put the foundation down. So the foundation would be what? Figuring out where the audience is. And then through that, you take it one step more and you build that authority before eventually you have influence. And we teach people how to use a final event to influence the behavior by helping the audience change their beliefs about their situation. Because if we can control how we think about something, we can change how we respond to it.
Okay. So like well, okay, so what held people back from doing that on their own? Like, why did they just don't know that it even exists, or
I'm just me. I'm just me. I'm not special. I'm
mm,
not the expert. You may be
I've
one of 4 people that are a specialty in your field. And you say, well, there's nothing special about me. I'm not an authority, right? And I know you can relate to this.
I sure can.
The reality is, if you know what you're talking about, if you have knowledge, I guarantee someone else wants it and doesn't have it. To them, you are the authority. But inside, we've been taught to play small, pretend that we're not, don't be prideful, don't be arrogant. And anybody who has confidence, those without confidence try and talk them down. I don't know if you've ever heard the analogy of crabs in a bucket, right? If you put a crab in a bucket, it's going to try and climb out of the bucket. If you put 10 crabs in a bucket, one will try and climb out and the rest will grab him and pull him down.
Why? For what is there science behind that?
There is a science behind that. Here's the reality. They need something to hold on to. The only way that they can get to the top is to climb over whatever is in their way. So the crab will try and pull them down so that they can get on top of the other crab to get out the bucket. Same thing with human behavior. If you're confident, you know what you're doing, the rest of the world will try and tear you back down again. Mm-hmm. So the key is to get out of the bucket and go stand on the stage where they can't reach you.
Oh, I like that. That was good.
Right. Get out of the bucket and get on another stage. Yeah. How do you get on another stage? You give somebody else exactly what they're looking for. Maybe somebody doesn't have content, but they need to stay engaged with their audience. And go do an interview. Go do a class. Do an open panel discussion with them to their audience. Do whatever it takes to help them connect with their audience on a more effective scale. And they are going to want to share you with their audience more often. So what we do is we walk through that process of all different 5 steps that eventually lead it to a point where these other influencers who've spent years trying to develop and nurture their audience, and you walk in with borrowed ethos and automatically walk in with built-in trust, authority, no like factor, and be able to influence that audience to take their next best step with you.
It's almost like having a warm audience from the gate.
From the gate. And you don't even have to build your own audience. Now, here's the great. Not everybody in everybody's audience is going to connect with you, but the ones that do now know who you are. And they're going to be the ones that come and connect with you. And you're not stealing somebody else's audience because you don't serve that audience in the same way. It's always complementary and non-competition. When that happens, you'll find out that your confidence will begin to grow because you'll see the value that you have in others. That's the struggle I had. I had to understand just because I felt small, I spent my whole life being small, living in the shadow of my brother's bad choices. I had to learn to step up, get off that stage of my past and step onto the new stage of my future. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to step away from where we were, take that step, take that action, do it now, and get into the next step. And that's usually what holds most people back inwardly, is that belief that I'm not good enough. I have a secret for you. You're not. So get better. Do it. You'll get better.
Yep.
The world of I'm not good enough should say that I need to improve. And you improve by action.
Yes, second that full-heartedly. Action. You don't improve by sitting there watching and learning over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. You must move.
Absolutely. I know one of the secondary things that hold people back, it's not even an internal factor. They think it's complicated. It's something outside themselves, right? They think I can't get on a stage. Nobody wants to hear me talk. Here's the reality. If I could fill my platforms with other people talking and providing value to my audience, I would do it in a heartbeat because I have little kids in the house. I'd love for somebody else to create the content for me. And all I got to do is just show up and have a conversation like we're doing right now. That would be amazing. Wait, yeah, I do that, right? Because it works. I need somebody to help me create content from a new, fresh perspective. I could talk about the same thing every single day of the week with 5 different people and have 5 different perspectives shown to my audience. Am I serving my audience? Absolutely. All you have to do is say, what can I do that would benefit someone else? Now, how do I put that in front of a new audience?
Right.
Most people online, if they have a message, if they have a product or a service, what do you think we have?
We have a partnership.
We have a partnership, right? If you have that, what you have is a need to be seen and heard. So anybody who has a message, a product, or a service online needs to be in front of new audiences. Because if they only talk to their own audience, then they'll only make the sales that they've sold. So if they're not increasing their reach, they're not increasing their authority or influence.
Right. Yeah.
So what we do is we teach them and we say, look, I will show you exactly how to tell them what they need to hear so that they will practically beg you to come in and say, yes, let's do this. Let me bring you in front of your audience.
I love it.
For anybody who doesn't believe this works, hi, my name's Chad. You've never seen me before. You're welcome. It works. Why? Because we just did a simple swap. She needed more visibility on her. So I introduced her on 4 different platforms this morning. I need some more visibility what I do. Why? Because it doesn't make sense to create an entire system around a solution and then not have everybody know there's a solution to their problem. It's a win-win for everybody.
Sorry, I have a cat issue. Everybody who knows me knows my cats are my children. My cat is hanging from the curtain right now, right here next to us. And I'm just waiting for her to drop and be super loud while you're talking. I'm like, please don't fall right now. But she's going to fall at some point. So
it's all good.
Okay, sorry. But okay, so what should the listeners do like right now, or if they're watching or listening, whichever it is? What do they need to do to connect with you?
Well, if you're looking to grow in authority and influence and be able to get your message, your brand, your services back into the world, the most important thing I would recommend to you is actually get a hold of my publicity training. The first thing is going to help you actually get in front of more people that you wouldn't normally reach. You can do that by simply just go over to chadnedland.com. There's a simple form, drop in your name and your email, and I'll go ahead and I'll shoot you a free resource. In addition to that, I will send you some emails. I am not a spammer. I just like sending cool stuff that's going to help people. And if you don't like my personality, I invite you. Go talk to someone else. But I'm fun. I'm goofy, and I love you.
Fun. So he is fun. So and also, I'm a little bit jealous of this whole thing. I think I'm gonna have to make some moves. I like it. It's very good. Yeah. Okay. Well, great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Bye.